Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedules today to join our inaugural Spotlight Educational Series. My name is Pamela Ludwig, and I'm the CEO of Compression Care. Many of you have already been referring your patients to us, and we greatly appreciate that. I myself have been a certified compression fitter for many years. Our COO, Joshua Perkins, as well as our entire case management team, are also certified compression fitters. That means that we have all measured and fit compression garments on patients many, many times. And we feel that having this quality of staff ensures that you always have a knowledgeable person at Compression Care helping you and your patient with all your garment needs. So each month we will be hosting these educational spotlight meetings where we introduce you to various compression garment vendors and manufacturers, all in an effort to bring that education and guidance directly to you so that you're aware of all the various options out there. We want to facilitate the ability to make great choices about the best products for your patients. So today we are thrilled to introduce Kathy Weatherly to you all. Kathy is the founder of the new Alta Medical, and she's going to present to you guys a new product line. She and her colleague Brett will be presenting today. You are among compression royalty today. If you don't know her story, it's a story that many of you can likely relate to. Kathy is actually one of you. She's one of you all. She's a certified lymphedema therapist, and for many years ago, started making swell spots and garments for her own patients on her own sewing machine. Those garments became so effective and well received that she was able to build a company around them. She founded the incredibly She founded the incredibly successful Solaris, which she sold to Lohman and Rauscher in 2014. And now she and her son, Kyle, are back in the game and excited to launch Alta Medical. So, and whether you have questions about the Alta Medical products being presented today specifically, or if you have any general questions, you're welcome to ask questions in the comments section over on the right side of your screen. And we'll make sure that we answer as many as possible in the time we have together. You will be in listen-only mode during the webinar. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to grab over there. And it looks like we might have lost Kathy for a minute. So we will, if we don't get her back in just a minute, we will let Brett kind of launch in and start the presentation. This is a presentation Brett has given many, many times, but I just wanted you guys to have a chance to meet Kathy because, as I mentioned, she's the brainchild behind Solaris and Alta. So Brett, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you if you want to tell everybody about the new Alta products.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us, Pam. And, we appreciate the relationship that we've been able to make with you and Joshua and the team at Compression Care. If you haven't met Kathy, this is Kathy to a T. She is great at everything, but technology and her are sometimes enemies. But,
kidding me? The car got started and it immediately sent it over to the speaker and then I couldn't hear anything. And so then it's trying to remember to shut off Bluetooth, but I am here now. Sorry, folks. And yes, that's why I need Brett.
Well, Kathy, I think there's no better time and no better person to tell us a little bit about, the story of how Alta came to be and, just tell us a little bit about yourself and Kyle and kind of all the fun that you're having now in this new endeavor.
So this really started with someone asked Kyle for a recommendation for a garment. I mean, it's been 11, 12 years since old Solaris. And I said, go check out everybody's websites. So he called me back and we were talking and he said, well, do you have any new ideas? And I said, well, to be honest, Kyle, it's been 10 years. This whole industry needs a tear down and a relook. And, I don't know. I hear from the therapist how much the clinic life has changed, but, the garments haven't changed. So we got hold of a bunch of therapists, talked to them, and
For the record, Kathy's not driving, so
to kind of brainstorm what was new, what could we do differently. And so we tore it all apart. We started it all over. And I think that's what I want you to know more than anything about Alta Medical. We want to be a company that is listening to you, listening to what you need now. We want to incorporate new designs, new fabrics, and I'm going to have Brett go over that with you. So that's the challenge. The challenge is, let's bring this industry up to date. Let's listen to the therapists and let's respond by giving you what you need. So I'm having one heck of a good time. I am enjoying visiting with the therapists again. You have any questions, you have any ideas, you just want to chat, I am available. This is the funnest part of my job ever, was brainstorming with the therapist. So with that, I'm going to pass you over to Brett. As you know, he is our what he really is the person who keeps Kyle and I organized and structured and compensates for our extreme ADD difficulties. So, Brett, take it away.
Thank you, Kathy. So, one of the things that I wanted to mention, I think Kyle has done a fantastic job at explaining this, is, you know, we are new and nimble and exciting in this space. And, you know, our goal simply isn't to revolutionize. We want to keep things consistent, and make sure that we're coming up with effective products that are familiar. But at the same time, we want to evolve and we want to push the boundaries of what traditional compression looks like. And, one of the ways that we address that, and this kind of goes into our foundation with the material, I think is probably the best way to showcase our thoughts behind these garments. And the thought was, how can we encourage compression? How can we encourage compliance? How can we make these garments more effective, more comfortable, more user friendly for the patient? And, are we as a manufacturer promoting that in the garment itself? So that foundation and that kind of first level that we had to build was, what's new and exciting with the material? Because as technology changes, so do these fabrics. And we've actually found a limestone based neoprene. It's really interesting, and the fact that it's not petroleum based to start, but we use environmentally friendly dyes, water-based glues, and we want to encourage these patients to wear the garments. So we also want to encourage a garment that's good for them to wear. That was really important for us. So it's very breathable with great wicking properties, and it's got a great stretch that's equivalent to the short stretch bandaging. So it does provide a familiar level of containment for the patient, but it's got really nice soft edges and is a fantastic material. And that was kind of our foundation. So if you want to go on to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about some of the changes that we've made. And there's a number of changes, but I think this is the one thing that was kind of a no-brainer for us and has made patients' lives so much easier. So this is what we call a finger loop. It's essentially the removal of some fabric at the end of the strap and the removal of some Velcro at the end of the strap that has allowed us to have an easy don and doff kind of closure mechanism with the Velcro. So the advantage is, whether you use your thumb and you're using it to tighten that strap, you now have a place to hold, or if you just need an easy way to reach and remove that strap, because that Velcro is sometimes really difficult to remove and get started. So this has been one of the biggest points of feedback and biggest differentiators for our product and our Sienna Wrap product line. So it's a fantastic advantage. And my favorite piece of this, and Kathy's heard some crazy things too, is what comes out of it in terms of creativity for the patient. And that bottom strap that was always so difficult. Now we're hearing crochet hooks and pliers and back scratchers. Anything you can think of is now the patient's favorite tool to help their life. And that's really been a fulfilling kind of statement from the man. As a manufacturer, we are actually impacting the patient's life. So that's been a really fun part of the process. This next feature and design change that we've made is equally as impactful, although it doesn't, offer the same obvious level of advantage. What we've done is we've changed the shape of the strap. So traditionally, strap shapes are rectangular. That makes a ton of sense until you pull on that fabric. When you pull on that fabric, you now are getting a concave shape. It's no longer a rectangle. And the difficulty is now where those straps used to line up as rectangles, under tension, under compression when they're being used, you're now getting these gaps, or at least risks of gaps occurring between the skin and pinching of that sensitive skin in between those straps. What we did, we call it bowing the straps. It simply means we've added a little bit of material to the top and bottom and kind of put a little arc and curvature on that strap. And the advantage is we have a wider strap at its beginning point, not under tension. When you provide that tension and you're utilizing the strap under compression, it now becomes the rectangle in that 30 to 50 range of compression. So we get a much better intersection of those opposing straps. But back to one of those foundational points that I was making at the beginning is we are now offering a garment that has 4 straps and full containment to hopefully encourage patients to wear this garment a little bit longer. It's a little bit easier for them to get on and off because there are only 4 straps, but they are still getting that full coverage, which was one of the difficulties when you're looking at a garment that doesn't overlap, is providing full containment. The next design change that we made, and again, it's a little more technical, but we wanted to approach everything. We weren't going to say that there was one good or one bad garment. We were trying to figure out ways that we could innovate and change things. And one of the ways that we found we could provide some better and more consistent compression was by changing the shape and the angle of the garment as a whole. So this is a lot easier to see when you open up the garment and lay it, on a flat surface. But we wanted to avoid designing for a tube, avoid designing for a pipe. That's not how the majority of these limbs are presented. So we really wanted to tailor to the anatomy of the human limb. And that led us to coming up with what we call a truncated cone. You can think of an ice cream cone shape where it's smaller on the bottom and larger opening on the top. The advantage to that is mainly the biggest advantage is we're able to provide great gradient compression. And, instead of clamping that limb, we're actually compressing and contouring to that limb to squeeze that fluid, back into the lymphatic system and keep things moving proximally. But the other benefits are you get better contouring at the ankle, you have less fabric there and room for gapping. And then the angle of this garment over the middle where that second and third strap are, you're now working with the limb to apply that compression, and you're not having to fight the straps going in different directions when they want to hit the limb and bounce around. So consistent, even compression, utilizing all the surface area of the fabric to apply that. And then you might be able to see it, on that right image at the top of it, we've removed a little bit of fabric in the knee crease. So right behind the knee. And that's just functionally to provide, again, a little more comfort, a little more flexibility, keep the patient in the garment a little longer. But as many of you know, medically, there is also a risk of creating a tourniquet there, where if some of those garments want to cut in, you can see that risk, or in some larger patients where that fabric wants to roll back, and then you'll see pooling and the creation of some of that fibrotic tissue. So we've hoped to address that a little bit better with this change as well. Now, I wish Kathy was, still able to talk about this, because this is definitely her baby. And Kathy,
I'm still here.
you are still. Do you want to talk about the foot wrap? Would you please enlighten everyone?
Sure. So over all these years of making compression garments, there is nothing that has caused me more anguish than trying to design for the foot and the ankle. And, at some point I've purchased everybody's product, and I realized that all of them have had the same problem. And this really came about one evening where it was this aha moment: get out of bed at 2:00 in the morning, and say, let's do this totally different. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And so this product is what we came together with. What is different about it? It's the first picture that you see there. The toe end follows along the foot, not the toes themselves. Every time you cover the toes, what happens is you have the small digit gets crunched over. And if you cover more than half of the big toe, then you get this gapping behind the toes. It just doesn't work. So for right now, we have this end right at the beginning of the digits, and it fits across there. The other thing that's interesting is we changed where that seam is, and we moved it to the medial side of the foot. So the seam is going to be your line to follow, and you're going to run that right along the inside of the foot, following the arch to the heel, as that's where you're going to place it. And then you want to make sure you put the first strap on and tuck the heel back into the heel hole, which gives it an alignment place. And then you can wrap the other two straps and then come back and wrap that first one. The cool thing about this is you can feel the arch support when you have this on, and the foot fits in there so much better. And you don't have that gapping around the back of the ankle or over the malleolus. So it's working. We have had some feedback. We've had two therapists ask that they'd like on the small unit for it to be the ankle strap to be 2 centimeters longer, 1 centimeter longer. So all of that has been put into the designs, and we're not running large runs of garments. So that'll get incorporated right away, but it gives you feedback. And then we had one person who said, I don't like on the bottom of the foot where the fabric's coming across. I'd like it to be a little bit longer on the bottom. So we're incorporating that also. And then we'll be sending out some samples of that for therapists to try and compare and see if that's a good idea. So again, as you play with our products, as you use them, we will make your changes. You don't have to, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. My ego is in my pocket. I can take it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and how I can change it. So this fits incredibly well. It's very comfortable to wear. And so give it a try. See what you think. Back to you,
Uh,
Brett.
Yeah, and the only thing, Pam, I saw you put a question there, and it's a great one. So what we've done and what's allowed us to make all of these changes in terms of design, mimicking the toe angle, adding in that seam on the arch, is we've made this specific to the left foot or to the right foot. So you do have to pick which orientation you would like for that foot wrap. And one thing I want to note in terms of the donning process, what we tell therapists is, or patients, put on that toe strap first, and then you can open up the middle and top strap at the ankle, slide the foot in like a slipper or a sandal would be, and then just don those other straps. And then when removing it, you can actually keep that toe strap together, remove the ankle and the middle strap, and then just slide it off. So there's a place to kind of locate the foot next time. And this is a double-edged sword. Some people love it. Some people wish we didn't do this, but we've actually removed the finger loops on this garment. And that was done because the finger loop is actually the thickest part. There's, the stitching of the Velcro and the fabric itself there. So we just realized rather early on that there was too much bulk and too much extra fabric. So we've now went the opposite direction, removed the finger loop and made it the thinnest part of any garment, where now we have just a thin Velcro tab at the end. It's our smallest garment by far in terms of its thickness, to help encourage patients to wear that shoe, be less invasive in their lifestyle, and just fit the different applications better.
I love the point you just made about the hooking the toe strap first and sliding the foot in there. Again, as a fitter for many years, I've not fit a foot garment that way. I'm used to placing the foot contouring the garment around the foot. I think that's a game changer for all of you who are listening right now. What an easier way for a patient to get a little control of putting their garment on, just when they can't get down to their toe, loop it first in their hand, right? And then slide their foot in. I love that. That's a game changer.
It does work really easily.
Yeah. I'm going to start that tomorrow.
And if you go to the next slide, what I want to point out I think this is a credit to kind of the culture that we've created, where we want to be nimble, we want to be flexible, and we want to listen, and we want to provide options. So in the option of the foot wrap, we have that Velcro wrap, but we also have, like many others, a compression hybrid liner. So that's compression in the foot and into the ankle, to help just address different lifestyles, different choices. If our wrap maybe is too bulky for someone to fit in their traditional shoe, they still have the option of utilizing a hybrid liner to kind of manage their edema that way. So we've provided options with the foot, and you might notice we've actually provided options with the calf as well. I think Kathy has mentioned time and time again how her frustration with some of these manufacturers, when you start looking at different presentations, if you have a larger limb with a larger ankle, you might have to go to one manufacturer versus another. So we've got two different styles. The first calf style we call seamless. That's for that larger ankle that transitions right to the calf without much shaping, without much contour or curve. So it provides compression circumferentially. The alternative to that, and what we call contoured in the middle of the screen, is for a more traditional limb shape that has a smaller ankle and then works outwards to that larger muscle belly of the calf. So those are both off-the-shelf options that we have to hopefully accommodate different presentations and different styles, and empower the therapist and the patient to make a choice at which garment will fit that presentation best. The other products we have in our line initially are the knee and the thigh wrap. One of the great advantages of the thigh is, just like the seamless calf wrap, because there is no seam and because it provides that compression circumferentially, there's no proper orientation. So essentially you can, and we've put some videos out there that maybe some of you have seen. We've heard from therapists that if you rotate, like the thigh, for example, if you rotate those straps to the outside, maybe it's easier for a caregiver to help place that garment on. But one of the big advantages that we've heard is if you place that thigh wrap on almost backwards, where you lay the body of the thigh over the body of the garment over the top of the thigh, you're then able to wrap the straps around the back. And you have to make sure that they're not gapping, because you're obviously not able to see those as well. But it changes the angle at which the thigh is lifted with the compression and keeps the garment up and stays in place a little bit better, at least from some of the therapists that we've heard. And then what I want to mention with those liners on the bottom, this is a good segue to our kind of care instructions, is the liners have great stretch and great, both in length and girth. They're very stretchy, they're very soft. So if you have a patient who wants to take a knee-high liner and pull it up to their chest, it'll probably get most of the way there. But what we tell the therapists and the patients is, if you want to, you can machine wash and machine dry all of our garments. We encourage putting it in a mesh or lingerie bag, and making sure if you're doing the Velcro wraps that Velcro is at least affixed to something, whether it's the body of the garment, so it's not collecting lint and other fibers. But when you put those liners in the wash, they'll go back to a more original size. So if it's overstretched, that's not a huge worry. So those are all the fun things that we're doing now. These are all the fun things we have in the works and where we're headed in the future. So in terms of the trials, we have 2 available right now. We're trialing our custom line of Sienna Wrap calf units, and we trialed some of the custom foot wraps as well. So basically that process is very simple. we ask you for measurements, and we have a measurement form, or you can utilize, others manufacturers forms if you need to. We can work off of anything, and we then provide that garment at no charge during the trial to the patient. But the goal is for us to ensure that our math and manufacturing add up to the actual measurements that we were given, because there is some trial and error with that, and we want to make sure that we have it refined before we initially launch that custom line. The second trial in the middle is what we have called the Adapter Wrap. This is really, I think, fitting is probably the best word for the time. And thankfully, we've worked with Compression Care, and they've been a fantastic resource for us. And we haven't necessarily run into this problem as much as others have, but delays are kind of the norm right now after the LTA, where if you're in a specific region or working with a specific DME, you might have a considerable gap in time from when that order is placed to when the patient actually receives that garment. And sizing can change, conditions can change. There's a number of frustrations there. So what we've done is tried to, like our motto, remain flexible, remain nimble through everything. So we've come up with a garment that is more in line with a trim to fit kind of kit. And what we've done is we have 4 different heights. So there'll be a 30 centimeter, 33, 36, and 39. So there'll be a great flexibility in terms of height. And then there'll be 4 different girth ranges as well. So hopefully this will accommodate, almost the majority of the population in terms of the lymphedema population. So they can kind of fluctuate in size over that time period when they're waiting for their garment. And one of the advantages, big advantages here is because we've had to allow the ability to trim and make that garment flexible, we can't stitch in that Velcro because obviously it has to be removed so the garment can be trimmed. What that means is it's a little less time and a little less work in the manufacturing process. It's less stitching for us as well. So we've been able to pass on a 30 or 40% cost savings from our Sienna Wrap line to the Adapter Wrap line. So our goal is to get this garment retail $50 to $60 range. So we think that having a affordable and flexible garment is more prevalent now than ever. So that's my long-winded story about what that trial is like. And, we're more than happy to send out those trial garments, and that's hopefully coming to the market soon.
So Brett, will the Adapter Wrap be lower leg only, or it will be available in full leg options?
So that it's a great question. Right now, we're just focusing on the calf for trials. We haven't expanded that ability to have our Adapter Wrap line in other areas, but it's not limited. So we're trying to see if our thoughts and our needs, because you go on Amazon and you'll see there's $25 shin splint wraps when you put in lymphedema calf wrap, and we get frustrated because we think they're doing more damage than good. So we're trying to come up with something affordable and effective. And if there's value in that, we will expand this to wherever we can take it, because we really think there's an opportunity there now more than ever.
And it depends on what the therapists want also. If they try this calf unit and say, yes, we want you to do a full leg, we want you to do a thigh, whatever, then we're going to, listen to what you have to say.
Yeah. Kathy, you might have more to add on this, but I will tease it. So if you're familiar with Kathy's history and, the tribute space, I'm sure you'll be as excited as we are to see what the new technology and new designs are for what we're calling the Indigo sleeve. So this is our nighttime therapeutic garment line that we'll be trialing sometime this fall, this winter, and then hopefully coming early 2025 to actual production availability.
Yeah, I conservatively would push that time out. So where I am right now is I'm about 3 weeks away from having prototypes go to our lymphedema therapist specialists on our board, and having them review the 3 styles that I have come up with. and to see which one they feel is the most favorable, at least break it down to two. And then from that two, we will then pull in some therapists and see. And if you guys want to volunteer, you're welcome to let Brett know your name. And then send out some of those to the greater population of therapists and get your feedback as, which style you like and things that you would want done with it. So before it goes live, I want to get it in as many hands as possible and get as much feedback in the beginning of it. Hopefully you will find that, as opposed to legacy, which I started with, and then it went to tribute. One of my things is that it just never looked professionally made. It was, I didn't know how to sew when I started sewing these things. And so one of my goals is to bring out a garment that looks truly, truly professional, finished. Not only is it effective, but when you give it to the patients, they say, wow, this is beautifully sewn. And the zipper is put in, in the right way and all those types of things. So I have some high expectations of myself, maybe falsely, but yeah, it's going to be my last one. I would really like to finally finish up this concept by bringing it up to a professional finesse to it.
Thank you, Kathy. So that's everything that we have at Alta going on, and there'll be more exciting things coming up in the works. So make sure you stay connected and in touch with us. But Kathy, there was a question that came in, and I would like to ask this to you. What is the best way to determine which calf style, seamless or contoured?
So if they have a kinkle, go with seamless. If they are someone who has a relatively normal ankle and maybe under 5 to 6 centimeters of extra girth as opposed to the unaffected arm, but the calf is, it's kind of like symmetrically in that range, I would do that. The So here's the problem: if you put the straight garment on someone who does have an ankle, the straps are going to have to V shape up. And so you're not getting the straps straight across. So if you can look at the limb and say proportionally the calf is at least double the size of the ankle, I would go with the contour one. If you're looking at someone who's, more lipedema, more, the difference is they've got a 32 ankle, 36 centimeter ankle, and they've got a 44 calf, then go with the straight one, with the seamless one. And if you see, there are two pictures on there too, so that we tried to do a drawing so you could see it a little bit. The amazing thing is that, these are standard size right now. And if you order it and it's the wrong one, send it back, get the other one.
What is the size range, Brett?
In terms of girth or talking
No,
about the differences between?
Yeah, the available sizes, small, medium, large.
Yeah, yep. So right now we are capturing about, I'd say 80% of the lymphedema population. So we have small, medium, large, and extra large. And then anything outside of that extra large is where we would go into the custom. So just trying to make sure that we have everything in terms of sizing where we want it. And we're not saying that we won't go larger than that in the future. There was another question that came in about our plans for upper extremity. So I want to note on that, and I think it kind of tied into what we were talking about at the end with the nighttime therapeutic garment space. So, we're trying to hyper focus, and that's for a lot of people difficult, but I would say specifically for the Weatherlys, hyper focus is difficult. So we built out our lower extremity line, and we're trying to finalize that, getting custom in the works. And then once we get more involved with the Indigo sleeve, that nighttime therapeutic garment line, that will probably be our bridge from lower extremity to upper extremity. That line will be, all encompassing, and then we'll be able to focus on, what we can do to innovate and change the upper extremity space as well, because I think that there's a little bit of saturation there, and we want to come up with unique and novel ideas on how we can change the way that those garments interact with the patient as well. Another question about the question was, do hybrid liners come in multiple levels of compression? The answer is no right now. So we have two liners available. One's non-compressive and one's compressive. The compressive liner is pretty minimal in terms of its compression. It's in the 8 to 15 range, and that is in the foot and into the ankle, non-compressive in the calf. And we've heard from therapists that they would like to see a little more compression there. And we've also heard from therapists that they would like to see a compressive liner that was not only knee high, like our current one is, but also thigh high. So we are exploring those options and trying to see if there's a way that we can get a little more compression and get a little more length and height out of that liner to make it more encompassing for the patients and therapists out there.
So is the hybrid liner currently just available in the knee high?
Correct.
Okay.
And yeah, the nice thing about the hybrid liners is that we do actually have those size in line with the garments. So those go from small to double XL. So we didn't want there to be any trouble with that liner, because there is a band on it at the top where it would impede on the girth of the limb, because that's sometimes a trouble for some patients.
Right. Okay, great. I think I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat right now. So I want to say thank you, Brett, so much. And thanks to Kathy. I know she had to jump off. She had a conflicting appointment today, but we appreciate that she got to jump in and introduce herself and show her face. It's good to have her back in the game. And I hope you guys are excited to learn about this new product line. It's, we find it to be pretty innovative and pretty unique. So we're looking forward to you guys wanting to try it. Send your orders into us anytime you're ready. And like Brett mentioned, they're super excited to have you help them hone their product line, and certainly hone their product line for your custom patients. So I have already received a custom garment for a patient of mine that has been really cool to work with her and work with you guys and work with her on getting her into a garment that's working well for her. And appreciate that you guys were willing to trial that for us.
Yeah.
So
I want to make one more comment. Because we appreciate all of the therapists being here, and we appreciate the team at Compression Care and the support that we've had from them. What we'll do is we'll send a follow-up to everyone that's here, and in there will be some codes to go on our website, and they can request samples that way. So if this is something, if you are thinking while we're talking, I have a patient in mind that would be a great candidate to benefit from one of these finger loops, or benefit from a custom garment, whatever it might be, let us know. And we want to work with you, and we want to work with your patients. So we'll get you those codes, and you can get some samples in your hands.
For sure. Because, as we know, doing this, holding and touching a product and stretching a product and putting a product on a limb is very different from looking at a product online, in a catalog or in a webinar. So that's a very generous offer to these therapists that are attending today. They would really appreciate being able to see and touch that liner, because as I know, a lot of you, most of you who join these webinars and work with us, you're in outlying areas, and you don't get product reps to come to you, and you don't get to see and touch and feel a lot of things. And so I think we all are kind of not guilty, but, find our rut. We find like, this is working, we may as well use this. And so to have a new player on the scene and offer you something to hold in your hand and put on one of your patients is really very generous. So thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to be hosting this educational series for the next few months. We are going to take a break in November and December, because as we all know, that's the busiest season for all of us. And we will resume the educational series in January and continue throughout the year. If you have any suggestions or know of a product line you would like us to present to you, we are more than happy to do that. Let us know. You can always email us at info@compressioncare.com and let us know. And you can just watch your email for invitations each month for the educational series, or you can always check the schedule on our website, which is compressioncare.com. And also there'll be a recording of this presentation by Brett and Kathy today that will be on our website in case you want to review it or share it with somebody else, some other therapists you work with. Okay, Brett, thank you so much for your time. And thank Kathy. She had to jump off, but we really appreciate you guys jumping on, and we're excited to have you partner with us and with these therapists that we've been working with.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody have a great day.